everyone. Filming a little bit earlier today, which is good. I think I'll go back to filming early morning though, but we'll see where that goes. Today I want to talk about shadow work and karmic debt, right? I remember seeing this post that said, like, a lot of people want the spiritual awakening, but they don't want to do the work that comes with it, and that can cause like a lot of interferences in your practice if you're choosing to go that route, but it can cause a lot of interferences if you are operating from a wound that you're not willing to work on. Karmic, okay. The easiest way to do shadow work is to pay off karmic debt. And it doesn't necessarily, it is something that you can rack up in this lifetime, but it's also things that you have racked up from a past life. And yes, past lives do exist because they are a part of our human design in astrology. And I mentioned this before, that you may not want to look at astrology as a resource, but it's literally it's something you can see, so like you can see the stars in the sky. We know planets exist, we know space exists, we know there's a force that's keeping all the planets in alignment, except, my planet Pluto. It kind of does its own thing, which is what I love the most, in terms of orbit. But but yes, past lives do exist. The South Node is where it's at if you want to look into that. But paying off your karmic debt can help you, and doing shadow work in that way can help you become the person that you are meant to be, which is which you can look into that for your North Node or your rising sign as well. Because the shadow is the part of us that we tend to hide or like neglect, and sometimes when we're faced so much, when we're drawn to so much to let's say like other people's light energy, or just light energy in general, your shadow, when you turn around, can become bigger than you can even fathom. Karmic debt, what you put in is what you get out. So what goes around comes around, basically. If you're living a life full of guilt and shame and regret and whatnot, and choosing not to look at that, it looks like you're gonna have to pay that off with somebody else or in a next life. Because when you've learned that lesson, that's when that debt is paid off. If you have not learned the lesson, you're gonna have to keep paying it until you learn. Interest is what we're gonna call. You're gonna have to pay more, more on that, because the chance is a loan. And you pay interest on that when you try to pay it back, and then you're not learning a lesson again, so you have to pay more and more and more and more, and you're gonna have to keep repeating that same lesson over and over again. And I will admit, it's not fun. Also not doing something as well, not not speaking up when something should be said. Say if you were a bystander in something, and then watch that same thing happen to you, and nobody says anything for you, it's looks like you're gonna have to pay that and realize, damn, that kind of hurts, that's mostly like the shadow work that I do, but also I've done so much of it to where it's like now it's okay, what are the sides of you that you kind of suppress, which is why I do this as well. Not only is it informative to you, but it's also healing for me. I don't know, say if in your past life you were, I don't know, shunned for having pink hair or something. I don't know. Let's just use an example. Maybe in this lifetime you can have that chance to wear pink hair or something. I don't know. It could be anything, but I'm just using like, a more simplistic example. I know for me, speaking is definitely it. How can it affect one's practice? I've spoken about me operating from unhealed wounds before. My method is the way that it is. For doing any sort of spell work, like whoever is in the wrong, please hit this person. And whoever did it, whether it's me or somebody else, is gonna hit them. And I make it to where it won't stop until that person does their shadow work. That's the only choice, I've already went in depth about the person that most people run to when things like this happen. Who you go to in the church pews every day and cover yourself in that person's blood, that same person, while you're feeding off of them, is right by me. And you can't tell me, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because no, you know the stories add up. Somebody was cast out of heaven for speaking the truth, was sent down here, got executed for speaking the truth. It's the same thing. So where are you gonna run to? I hope I pay off everything so I ain't gotta come back here. Be a guide to somebody else. Alright. My socials are in the description. Please make sure to follow those and subscribe and stay tuned for every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday that I post. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video on Sunday. Bye.